Doubles and Coffee, PNM fake news media. All you're relentless, but it's alright. I'm more relentless. Doubles and Coffee and all your tail every morning. Imagine Guardian Media Limited trying to create a story that Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the Honorable Prime Minister, did not host or did not appear at a post-cabinet meeting, and therefore, in some way, she didn't want to discuss the burning issue, according to Guardian Media Limited, about Venezuelan officials saying that Kamla standing up strong is crazy. First of all, Guardian Media Limited, you don't determine for the country what is important. You don't determine for the government what needs to be discussed. You don't put the agenda. There's social media now. You cannot put in the minds of people what you feel is a critical issue. Venezuela is a non-issue. Maduro is a dictator, an illegitimate regime. The USA, Canada, European Union, OAS going to deal with Maduro. Maduro stole an election. Maduro, no one cares what Maduro say. If only you and the PNM Guardian Media Limited, a Maduro man who steal an election, who does not have legitimacy, is saying that Kamla crazy, and you all find that makes sense. That's how you are crazy too, Guardian Media Limited. Because crazy know crazy, and crazy respect crazy. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Guardian says, oh, for the first time, Kamla Prasad Bisesa missed the post-cabinet meeting, and she gave an excuse that the cabinet meeting was still going on. The cabinet meeting was still going on. And let me tell the population, a post-cabinet meeting is not a prime ministerial press conference. A post-cabinet meeting is just that. When you have a cabinet meeting, you have cabinet notes brought by all ministers who require funding to implement policies and to move forward. A post-cabinet meeting is to alert the population of what took place for that week in the cabinet, what decisions were made from various disparate ministries, from works and infrastructure, from transport, from local government and rural development, from housing, from the Ministry of Finance, from the Ministry of the Attorney General, Legal Affairs, Social Development, whatever decisions that the population needs to know were taken on their behalf to provide them with service. That's what a post-cabinet meeting is. Guardian Media Limited is trying to create in the minds of people that somehow a post-cabinet meeting must be hosted by the Prime Minister. First and foremost, the Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, in the first 4 or 5 weeks of her administration, she made herself available to the media to be grilled by media and pseudo media and PNM media and dotish media and agenda media, because she knew that the population had a sense of hope. They had voted for her, and she wanted them to see what she was doing. Now, in the first few weeks, Kamla Prasad Bisesa is the most seasoned politician, senior counsel, and knows what it is to govern. So while her other ministers, some of them very new, never holding ministerial portfolio before, were settling in, meeting their permanent secretaries, being briefed on processes and how to develop cabinet notes, how decisions are made, and so on, Kamla Prasad Bisesa hit the ground running. So for the first 2-3 weeks, all the cabinet notes, as I told you all here on Doubles and Coffee, were done by that Prime Minister. While the PNM was talking nonsense about Kamla not in the office, or she not in Whitehall, or whatever nonsense they were trying to spew, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the Honorable Prime Minister, was putting together policy positions and adhering to the promises that she made, knowing full well how to do cabinet notes. The first 7 cabinet notes, of which one was to amend the Children's Life Fund, another one was to eliminate the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, that the PNM was coming to weaponize taxation, another one was to create a committee for stand your ground legislation, and so on. All those cabinet notes were done by Kamla Prasad Bisesa because she is a seasoned professional who understands how to do, how to develop, and how to write her own cabinet notes. She had her team together and she did that. So therefore, the cabinet meeting was hosted, the post-cabinet meeting, by the Prime Minister, because she knew most about the notes. She developed the notes. She researched the notes. She brought the notes. Now the government is running. Ministers are bringing notes. Therefore, ministers will be in post-cabinet, not the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister does not have to be in post-cabinet. So this nonsense that Guardian Media Limited is trying to put and talking about this Venezuela issue. The issue, the Prime Minister has spoken. If Venezuela play the fool, they will be met by full force with all our partners, including USA, Guyana, CARICOM, OAS, Canada, and European Union. It's not Trinidad and Tobago alone against a dictator who stole an election. PNM and Guardian Media Limited is the only people who have the gumption and gall to pretend that they are moralistic and ethical in supporting our old thief. Maduro is an old thief. He stole an election. He's illegitimate. He lost. And he's clinging on to power. Yet they present him as some bastion of integrity. Maduro is an old thief. And they will deal with him in due course. Kamla Persad-Bissessar will not be bullied by an old thief, whether international or in Balize House. So that is the fact. So the post-cabinet press conference, which dealt with some very critical issues. Now, Guardian Media Limited, the real critical issue affecting hundreds of thousands of citizens right now is what? Flooding, rain, riverine flooding, rivers up full capacity because we've had 3.5 days. Even right now, it's raining. 3.5 days heading to 4 days of constant, continuous rainfall. The government, the UNC government, led by Khadija Amin, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, has been out there serving the people. Even on PNM Media TV6, the poll said, are you happy with the response to the flooding? 89%, and that is not UNC, that is not Doubles and Coffee that my people and supporters and UNC supporters make sure and listen to. That is mostly PNM. You will get some independent and some UNC, but historically a TV6 poll is a PNM poll, and yet 89% of the people who viewed that PNM Media TV6 said they were happy with the response because the UNC MPs were out there, the ministers were out there, people were seeing love, care. Even the Minister the Minister of Transport was checking out PTSC to see if people were getting service, how we could improve the system at late at night with rain pouring. The people are happy because it's a government serving them. Guardian Media Limited don't want to talk about that. They don't want to big up Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her government and her ministers for doing a great job that the people love. They want to create something and support our old thief Maduro, a narco-terrorist that 8 million Venezuelans have fled Venezuela because of Maduro since 2016. Because he's usurped authority, he's an oppressive dictator and narco-terrorist, 25 million US bounty on his head. But yet, Guardian Media supports that and pretends that that is something worth a claim. Kamla Persad-Bissessar has dealt with that and will continue to deal with that. Post-cabinet is not just about the Prime Minister. It's just that post-cabinet, whatever minister, whichever ministry brought a note that was duly approved and confirmed, they come to tell the population. So stop trying to spew lies and pretend like Kamla Persad-Bissessar is not working on something. Today is Parliament. Already they're going to debate the amendments to the Children's Life Fund Act to save more children's lives. Guardian Media don't find that important. Saving children's lives so parents can have hope that their children would live on. There's a graduation ceremony coming up next week that hopefully the Prime Minister may attend of a child whose life was saved in 2011 from her Children's Life Fund. The boy is now graduating from high school. That is Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Today in the Parliament, they're debating amendments so that more children could get funding to make their lives, the quality of lives better. That is important. That is work. That is care. That is government. That is Prime Minister. The Honorable Kamala Prasad says also another motion being debated is to remove the TTRA. That ridiculous thing, that oppressive thing that called member and the PNM wanted total control after they had infiltrated all independent institutions. The TTRA was now to get into your tax, to get into your private information, to weaponize taxation and penalties against you, against political opponents, like they tried to do with the Attorney General office under Faris Al-Rawi, who signed an indemnity with a criminal to lie on UNC. That is what the PNM was doing. Kamala Prasad, who now has that power, if she so desired, to be nefarious, dictatorial, oppressive, and wicked like the PNM, she could have left it. And she could have told Dave Tanku, her Minister of Finance, well, the power is yours now. Use it against them now. Use it against PNM. Kamala Prasad said no. That is not the type of wicked power that she wants to wield. She governs with love and care. So she is removing the TTRA and allowing public servants to deal with taxation in a fair and equitable manner. No politician should be able to weaponize that. That's what Kamala Prasad is doing. The cabinet meeting was in the Red House. I was there. Kamala was chairing the meeting. The meeting went on. Ministers, including Jerlene John, went out there to post cabinet. That is fantastic. When Rowley went missing for 27 days, Guardian Media Limited, where were you? When Rowley get COVID, which was really COVID because he find out he get on the 4th time, where were you? When Rowley went on holiday after holiday, flying out 379 days in a 5-year period, where were you? When Rowley quit and could not finish his mandate that he asked people to vote for him to be Prime Minister and then forced PNM to select Stuart Smallpin-Young, where were you? Kamala is right there doing her work. Post-cabinet is for ministers. Post-cabinet. So Guardian Media Limited, your fake PNM news. To all of your population, understand that. Get your news, get your truth from social media, from real media, not from fake propaganda media like PNM fake news media. Bless.